Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Stitch the movie. Yes, this is yet another sequel to the Lilo and Stitch animated film, and yes, I make the distinction of animated because there's a live-action Lilo and Stitch film coming very soon. Of course, it doesn't exist yet for us to watch, but I'm just saying. This is from 2003. It's an hour and 3 minutes long, so it's barely a movie. It is very much, a little bit of spoilers here, very much a lead-in. It's like a giant episode that leads to the Lilo and Stitch animated series, which I've seen the first episode from, and as part of the series, and I didn't know at what point our two main characters had been given specific jobs, and I now have the answer. It is in this film, Stitch the movie, and you get to understand what they are tasked with, the mission of the entire series that exists on Disney Plus. So in this, we have the entire cast, from what I can tell, coming back to redo their roles. Of course, Stitch himself is voiced by creator Chris Sanders, who's also the designer and everything else of this character, and so much of the Lilo and Stitch universe. He is also returning for the live-action film as well. I see him every year at San Diego Comic-Con, and it's one of the few, if maybe the only, maybe one or two conventions I've ever seen him at, where he sells his artwork and little, sometimes statues and all sorts of other different things, sketchbooks, which are really nice to see his good girl art and things like that, and creature art, and it's kind of cool. So if you get a chance to go to San Diego Comic-Con and you'll want some stuff, he does have some Lilo and Stitch stuff sometimes. I think it's a kind of an iffy thing. Disney owns it. Can he make profit on it independently? I don't know. Can you get him to do a sketch for you? Maybe. It's not cheap, I'm sure, but that's between you and him. So to figure that out. But yeah, it's Chris Sanders. Look him up if you get to San Diego Comic-Con. Odds are he'll be there again this year. I have no idea, but hey. So he's back. Davy Chase is playing Lilo. We got Tia Carrera playing Nani. We got David Ogden Stiers back as, I know the actor's names better than I know the character names, Jamba. And Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall is back as Pleaxie. Ving Rhames as Cobra Bubbles. That is such a great name. And David is played by David Bradley Baker, the Bad Batch, and pretty much every clone ever. Captain Gantu is Kevin Michael Richardson. We also have Jeff Bennett as Dr. Hamsterville. Not Hamster Wheel. He's very particular about that. Hamsterville. And Corey Burton. Tress McNeil. Just like Rob Paulson is in this as 625. Yeah. So there's Stitch as 626. So yeah, there are other Lilo and Stitch movies that take place before this, and of course after the original film. But this is chock full of the core Disney voice actors that you appear in just about anything. If something animated is created at Disney, odds are nearly all of these people will show up at one point or another to make a noise and get a paycheck. That is, you know what, they're right, because they are a talented group of people that are just, hey, I don't think, if they cease to exist, most of everything in Disney animation would almost be voiceless. The majority of it, everything from Winnie the Pooh all the way to some Star Wars stuff too, and Marvel. Frank Welker, of course, makes all the animal creature noises as well. One of the things about this, which gets played off in the animated series, is sort of the introduction of the other experiments. I mean, if Stitch is 626, And 625, we already know who he is if you've seen one of the other films. I forget which one. 625, played by Rob Paulson, is in this also. What about the other 624? Jamba made a lot. He was an evil scientist. He made a lot of experiments that are very much like Stitch. Well, this introduces the concept of almost, and I know somebody's gonna be ticked off that I say this, but Disney Pokemon. I'm just saying, it's Disney Pokemon. It's just interesting variations on the Stitch look. They all have different shapes and features and colors. One is electricity. Ooh, that's a Pikachu. One looks like a bat. One looks like an octopus. They have all different features. And of course, in the animated series, I'm going to keep referencing that they're on a hunt to find each one of these. Got to catch them all. I know. But majority of this film is spent leading up to that big final reveal kind of moment. So I realize I spoiled some of that for you, but you kind of, once you realize what the point of this thing is, you know what to expect. And odds are, if you're a Lilo and Stitch fan, you've already watched this 2 decades ago. This is over 20 years old. Yeah. So, beyond a great cast, the animation is more Saturday morning cartoon level. It still has the great painted, sometimes watercolor backgrounds that are just add. They're very static, and all the cell animation is done right on top of it, just old school style. Even if it's digital made to look like that, it still looks great. The cell animation is not as tight as it would be for a major motion picture, but that's okay. This is for kids, and it's not really gonna be. The kids are gonna not be too critical about how are they putting together the animation. No, they're not doing. The kids don't care. That the characters they know and love are in this film. Absolutely, that's what they care about, and they've got all of them. Lilo is still the chaotic mess that she is, and Stitch even more so. But in this, he doesn't have that same kind of edge he had in the original film, where he is pretty much a very selfish agent of chaos. He's barely friends with Lilo, barely kept in check. In this, he is very much the hero. He is doing right. He is a good guy in every way. You don't worry about him going over the edge and hurting somebody, which was kind of like unsettling in a sense in the original film, where, he's an alien rabid dog in a sense, as I kept calling him, thinking he was a dog. But it just sort of, he's tamed in a sense, to a certain degree. Not fully, because he is Stitch, but when it comes to Lilo, he'll do anything for her, and that's kind of the draw. Like any kid, I think if I was a little kid and I saw Lilo and Stitch, I'd want a cool little crazy monster creature to hang out with. And Lilo is, honestly, in every good way, the weirdest kid in the Disney animation universe. Hard to figure out who is weirder. Maybe Olaf, but Olaf is just out there. Lilo is just pint-sized weirdo. I love her. I love her for that. So, it's again, once again, a great cast. Again, don't expect this to be major motion picture quality. This is honestly put on a VHS tape at one point and sold to the masses. That's what it was for. Or it was just a special that existed and was shown on the Disney Channel prior to the series being launched, because it's got a tight connection. So if you're ever thinking about watching the series and you haven't for whatever reason, watch this first. Watch all of them in the proper order that they were released, and you'll want to see this before you watch the series, and you'll get what you hoped out of it. So that's. It has some interesting. The humor in this is good. It's nothing groundbreaking, but there is some neat little bits that kids wouldn't understand the purpose of. Adults, like Hamster Wheel starts monologuing, trying to tell Lilo how they haven't defeated him, but he stops midway and asks to get some phone books so he can stand on them to look at her at eye level because he's very small, and so he can stand up and hide. And it's like there's a long pause where he's just like, just a minute, I'm waiting, hold on, and they just stand there for a while. So it's a funny bit that wasn't necessary for the film, but for the characters, it made my day. So that's all I got to say about that. Check it out. If you're a Lilo and Stitch fan, I don't need to tell you, but like I said, just watch them in order, because watching the series too soon before this will confuse you. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 114. Yeah, then we had 115 not too long ago, I think. 114. We did. We had Idina Menzel. But that was Idina Menzel. That was the first of the I's. We now have the end of the H's. And that means we get the animated series Hulk and the Agents of Smash. Now, we have seen other animated shows that tie into this. They're in the same universe as the Hulk. Hulk shows up in Avengers stuff. He's kind of intelligent, and he's apparently working for a S.H.I.E.L.D. spin-off, a spin-off of the S.H.I.E.L.D. organization called Smash. And, it's appropriate that Hulk would be running or organizing a group like that. So Hulk and the Agents of Smash on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.